The next story is from Norway. Anybody know where Norway is? I just came from there. It was very, very cold. That's why I bought the big puffy coat, the giant puffy coat that was even bigger than the one I was wearing earlier. So this story is from Norway, and it's about a kid who is underrated. Underrated. Nobody thinks he can do things, but he does. But it starts with a princess. Once there was a princess. She was so tiny and cute. Oh, she was so little. But she was extra, extra smart. She learned things so quickly. She could just pick things up. Somebody'd say something one time and she'd remember it. She was amazing. And of course, the king was very proud of his daughter. He used to say, "She is the smartest person in the entire world." Hyperbole. That's a vocabulary word, I tell you. Anyway, well, as she got older, though, she started to just take over every talk that people had. She would start and somebody would say, "Hi, how's it going today?" She says, "Well, the weather is very fine, but it's still a little breezy and kind of cool." And she would just keep talking and talking and talking about it and never let the other person say anything. It got really kind of bothersome. And as she even got older than that, after she was like in junior high, she started to be kind of sassy to people. She would say, "You don't know that? I can't believe that you're not doing calculus already. I mean, it's easy for me, so I don't know why you can't do that." She started to get a little bit mean. And she wouldn't listen to her mom and dad at all. Her mother was so tired of her, she'd say, "Honey, you've got to listen to people. I mean, you can't just have a one-way conversation all the time. It's not going to work. You're not going to be able to have any friends." And she said, "Well, Mother, I'm just giving my opinion. I'm very intelligent, and I don't see why I should have to hide that." "Well, you shouldn't have to hide it, but you should listen to other people." "Okay, Mom." And she walked off. Now, she was getting a little sassy. Even the king, after a while, realized that she had a problem because he looked around and noticed that she used to have friends, and now she didn't hardly have any friends at all. By the time she was about 18, 19 years old, she had no friends. And the king thought it was time she should get married. She was so smart. She advised him on everything, but she had no friends. "Well, maybe if I have some people come to court you, like some men come and try to come and entertain you, and well, they would come and they'd say, 'Well, hello, you look lovely today.' And she goes, 'Actually, I'm feeling not too well. This is my worst dress, actually.' And she would just go on and on and on and on until the prince would just kind of go. She would not stop talking. And finally, the king realized this, so he decided that he would put a notice up all across the land saying anybody that could make the princess speechless could have the chance to marry the princess. And either way, whether she married or not, you'd get half the kingdom. Just to make her speechless. Well, people lined up. They thought, "Well, I could do it. I could do that." So some people tried to do feats. They did things like juggling. They juggled things. They juggled bowling balls. And she would just talk right there. "I can't believe you're doing this. Do you have any dignity at all? Come on, just stop that." She just went on and on. So finally, he'd leave. No one could get her to stop talking. Well, word went out wide across the country, and 3 brothers that lived about a half a day's walk away. They were very poor. Their father and them lived in a little cabin. And the oldest one, he said, "I think I can make her stop talking." And then the second oldest, he said, yeah, one of us can do it, because when we go into a room, people just stop talking right away. I think we could do it right away." And the father was like, yeah, that's true. It's probably not for the reason that you think, but go ahead, give it a try. So they went. They decided to go to the castle. They had all their stuff in a bag. They were put it over their shoulder, and they said, goodbye, father. And as they were saying this, behind them, their brother said, hey, I'd like to go too. Now, their brother had spent the whole time with a stick playing in the fire. Has anybody ever put a stick in a fire before? Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that my grandmother always said, don't do that or you'll have an accident. But nobody ever did. We just kept doing it. And we were careful not to get the cinders out. Well, anyway, he would just play in the fire all day long, it seemed. He wanted to stay warm and read books. And his brothers thought that that was ridiculous. Can you say that? Ridiculous. But that's what he liked. And his name was Espen. Can you say that? Espen. I know, isn't that? It's an unusual name, not so unusual in Norway. The ash lad, because he always played in the ashes of the fire all the time. So can you say that, the ash lad? All right, you're going to have a chance to say it again, so you better listen up for that. Okay, well, so he said, can I go? Can I? And they said, oh, man, Espen, you're not going to be able to do it. You don't do anything but read books and play in the fire. And the other brother said, no, there's no way. You shouldn't. It would be a waste of your time. I don't think so. He said, well, I think it would be amusing to go. Who knows what amusing means? Yes. Entertaining. He thought it would be fun, right? Maybe have some fun. So he goes, I think it would be amusing to go along. And they thought, oh, Espen, what are you talking about? Fun. We're not in this for the fun. We're in this for the land. So all of them left. The oldest brother, the youngest brother, and who? The ash lad. The ash lad. The ash lad. When I point at you, you say ash lad. Who's the story about? Who's going with them? The ash lad, yes, because he always played in the ashes. Anyway, they all went down the road, and they started walking down the road. They all had a sack over their back. They're walking along. They're having a good time, and suddenly, Espen, the ash lad, he stops, and he looks down, and there is a willow branch. He picks it up, and it's been tied in a loop. Like you know, so it could be like a little, you know, you could put stuff in it. And he said, "Hey, that's pretty nifty. There's a loop here. Look at that." And his brother said, "Espen, what are you doing? You're wasting our time. I mean, come on, we got to get going." He goes, "I know, but I think this could come in handy." He goes, "What are you doing?" So he said, "Well, I'm going to keep it." He put it in his bag, and they walked down the road. They walked along a little bit further, and suddenly he said, wait, guys. They go, what now? He picks up a broken dish. And they said, it's garbage, Espen. Just throw it away. And he said, no, I think this is going to be just what I need. I've got a plan. And they're like, all right. He put it in his bag. He walked a little bit further down the road, and suddenly all three boys looked. And right in front of them, in the middle of the road, was a dead bird. And they looked at it and they went, ew. Can we do that? Ew. But then Espen, the what? Ash lad, he reached and he picked it up by the wing. And his brothers went, oh! Try that. And he said, yeah, this is exactly what I need. And he put it in his bag. That's what his brothers said too. And then he said, yeah, I'm going to need this. They said, Espen, I think you should walk behind us so that no one knows you're with us. And he thought that was fine because usually when they would go someplace, by the time they were there, he had to walk pretty far behind because they didn't want to know he was with them. So he let him walk around the corner, and then he started to walk on his own. He thought it was a beautiful day in the forest. He could hear the birds singing. He was amused, right? Enjoying himself, having a good time. He's looking around, and suddenly he sees a real treasure. He picks it up, and it's a ram's horn that goes around like a loop like that. Really cool looking. He goes, wow, this is awesome. Look at that. He put it in his bag, put it over his shoulder. Oh, if only I only needed one more thing. He walked along and he walked along and he walked along. And then he saw, oh, I can't believe it. It's what I needed more than anything. I didn't even know I needed it, and I needed it. And he picked up another ram's horn that was in a circle like that. And he said, wow, now I have two. And he put that in his bag. He walked and he walked until he came to a big clearing. And he looked out there, and over there towards the school, he saw the castle. And he thought, wow, castle. But the road went kind of this way and then that way. And he was looking out there, and he said, he looked out there and he thought, gosh, that's pretty far. So he decided he'd take a shortcut right across it. His brothers were right at the door going in. He thought, oh, I don't want to be too far behind him. So he walked right across a field that had just been fertilized with manure. And he walked across. He was like, wow, this sure stinks out here. It's sure smelly. He walks along and he walks along and he walks along and then he sees it. The final piece of the puzzle. He looks down. He sees the sole of a shoe that's completely worn out. There's a big hole in it where the bottom of the foot would come out. And he said, this is perfect. It was caked with manure. He said, this is just the thing I need. It's the key to the entire operation. This is wonderful. He put it in his sack. And he walked right up to the door. Now you can imagine how this young man smelt at the time. He walked up, and the two guards that were there said, can we help you with something?
Yes, what is your business here?
Tell us.
Well, I'm here to make the princess speechless. And I'd like my chance. And they said,
well, that would take a fool to do that kind of thing. Nobody's been able to do it.
and then the other one said,
Yeah, but this guy's, I think he's a big enough fool to be able to do it, maybe. I don't.
and so they said,
Okay, go ahead and try.
so he walked in. He walked down a corridor and went past a window that went out into the courtyard. And his brothers were out there, and there was a man lecturing them on how bad they had done. Now, let's have a one-sided, silent lecture that somebody is telling you how you were wrong and didn't do the right thing. Well, he kept walking by. He thought, boy, my brothers must not have done too well. So they walked on. He walked up. There was another guard next to the princess's chamber. He walked in, and the princess was over by the fire with her back to the door. And he said, "Hi, princess. It's a pleasure to meet you." And she said, "Yeah, well, it's not so much a pleasure to meet you, but look at you. Look what the cat did. You've got ashes all over your shirt. What do you didn't even clean yourself up to come here. What do you need?" He goes, and he holds out his hand. He says, wait. He takes out that dead bird and holds it up, and he says, Can I cook my bird over your fire? There was a fireplace right in her room. That's how fancy the place was. He said, Can I cook my bird over your fire? She said, Yes, but it's going to get grease the whole thing. How long has that thing been dead? I can't believe that you can't cook something like that. It will explode. He goes, Oh, no, it won't explode, because He picked out the loop. He said, I'll put this loop around it, then it won't explode. I'll hold it over the fire like this. She said, oh, that's ridiculous. That's no good. It's going to drip fat into the fire. He said, oh, no, as he held it out. He goes, picked up that broken plate. He says, I'll hold this under it so it doesn't drip into the fire. She's like, oh, I tell you, you got a twisty way of thinking. He goes, I'm not twisty. Twisty, he put the things down. He picked up one of those ram's horns and said, this ram's horn, that's twisty. He said, hey, look, it's twisty. Look how twisty. Pretty twisty, don't you think? She said, oh, I can't believe you. This is ridiculous. I mean, I've never seen the like. You've never seen the like? Oh, he picked out another one. 2 ram's horns, see? They're just alike. He put it on his head. Look at that. That's something, huh? She's like, are you about worn out trying to make me be speechless? Because you're not doing a very good job. I always know what to say after you've said that. It's not making any sense at all. She starts talking and goes, oh, no, wait. I got something that's worn out. I'm not worn out at all, but this is worn out. And he picked up that old sole of the shoe that was all manure with the hole in it. And he said, this is worn out. This is worn out. Look at that. And he dangled it right in front of the princess's nose. And then finally, she just backed up. But it doesn't make any, what? Can we look like we're speechless? And he said, well, then, I guess I'll be getting half in the kingdom and perhaps even marrying you. What do you think? And she went, you know, I think it would be amusing to be married to somebody like you. And they were married, and as far as I know, they lived happily ever after.